Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we are not in Northville anymore. We're at Belleville High School. I hope you guys can see that. Just a few days ago was Belleville versus Northville round 2, and Belleville took it 2-for-2 this year, winning against Northville with a final score of 49-7. A pretty typical Belleville score, it must be said. Now, I promise you we will talk about Belleville a little bit more in this video. I expect to probably follow Belleville home to the championship and make more about them. So, still going to talk about Northville and everything in this video, but I wanted to start off with a little story, of why I'm even here talking about any of this stuff. Even the last video, Northville CC. Why am I even making a video? Why am I talking about it? I don't remember what I said in the last video or what I even left in. I went to high school in Northville and I graduated in 2017. And I was not a football guy. I didn't know anything about it all throughout high school, and I don't think I ever learned anything. But I was in marching band, so I had to go to every single game, 2013, 14, 15, and 16. So I saw every home game that Northville played back then, and they were always pretty good. I think 2015 was the 10-1 season. I knew they weren't winning championships, but I knew that they were pretty good. And so I graduated in 2017, and I did not go to a single game after that. I was in college. I lived in Northville still, but I was always working or in doing stuff with my friends on Fridays nights. My youngest brother is in marching band this year for Northville, and so I was just going to go to a few games. And then Northville started winning, and at the time I thought that that's just what Northville always did. They always won. They were always great. You couldn't beat them if you were someone else. They kept winning, and it ended up being really fun. And then I learned that in the seasons that I wasn't watching, 2019, 2020, I think more 18, 19, they were actually not that great, Northville was. And one thing about sports and winning is that you never know when your last win is coming, and you never know when you're all of a sudden not going to be good anymore. So I kept going to them because it was fun, and if they were going to be this good, I might as well keep watching because it was fun and enjoyable, but I wasn't paying that close attention. And so Northville goes 8-0 for the regular season, or at least up until the last game. And then they play this Belleville team, or they're going to play Belleville. Now, up to this point, the only time I'd even ever been to Belleville was driving home one of my old coworkers at Wendy's. He lived in Belleville, so I was here like 4 times at 2 in the morning in 2017. That's all I knew about Belleville. And so I'm like, Belleville? What kind of football team could they possibly have? I literally knew nothing about Belleville football. And I asked some of my current coworkers who have kids who play football in high school. I was like, hey, what do you guys know about this Belleville team? Are they any good? Like, Northville's going to beat them, right? And they're like, oh, Belleville. Yeah, they did us in pretty good. They kind of killed us. I was like, uh-oh. But I still went to this away game. I was still going. And on my way, I looked at the stats and saw that Belleville had shut out the last 3 or 4 teams that they played. And then I got to the high school, and the sign literally said, I don't know if it says it anymore, but it said at the time, Belleville High School, 2-time Division I champs, 2021 and 2022. And I was like, oh, shit. Had I known that before then, I probably wouldn't have even gone. But I did not know that, and I'm glad I did go. I'm glad I didn't know that, because watching Belleville beat Northville, how they did. This was October 20th. This was the first game. It was like 42-0. I'd never seen Northville get shut out before. I'm sure it's happened. I know it happened sometime in like 2020. I think Belleville shut them out in 2020. Seeing Belleville do to Northville what Northville did to Salem, it was incredible. Like I said in the last video, not incredibly good, but incredible nonetheless. And it's pretty much why I'm here making these videos. It's because after I watched that, it pretty much changed the game for me, at least for this season. I don't know what I'm going to do next year. Next year's a long time away. Now, I've wasted a bunch of time. I've told my dumb little story. Let's actually talk about the game now. And you may notice that I'm not in Belleville anymore. Brand new mic died while I was recording the last video. So we're just going to try and pick up the pieces and finish this one out. Does that sound good? I definitely don't have as much to say about this game as I had for the CC game. As I mentioned the score already, it didn't go Northville's way, but I must say they played their heart out in the first half. And the first half of this game was super fun to watch from the stands. The score at halftime, 14-7, obviously in Belleville's favor, but being only one touchdown behind, I mean, you got to understand, this is almost like a college team, I feel like, in some ways, Belleville is. So just being only one touchdown behind, that's incredible. That's really good. I don't think I can explain it better than that. It's hard to explain it better than that without being there, without knowing about these two teams. That is impressive, and a lot of people have not been able to do that so far this year. So let's talk about some of the moments in the first half. Belleville only got one offensive touchdown in the first half. Their other touchdown was a fumble recovery. And on the Northville side, they had, I don't want to call them trick plays or anything, but they had some really good plays. The one I'm showing on screen right now, Isaac Pace passes it to Caden Kubin, number 14. Kubin passes it back to Pace, and then Pace throws it to number 1, Colin Charles. And that was a gain of, I don't know how many yards that was. I'll flash it up on screen. Unfortunately, that play didn't result in a touchdown. That drive didn't result in a touchdown. However, one that did, and I don't have any footage of this, which sucks, but Sonny Rentz going for the fake punt. It's one of my favorite things in football, the fake punt. Brings Northville back to first down. And now I'm jumping in for a weird cut of this video. So when I was originally filming this part 2 outside, I did not really have a lot of footage to work with of this game. And so I ended up actually getting a few things wrong. And I figured that out because right after I filmed outside, I found this footage shot by Eli, who was on the sideline at the Belleville versus Northville game. And he took footage of, it seems like, almost every single play. And so I wanted to go back and actually play through the full drive that led to the Northville touchdown. I figured since this is the last touchdown of the season and the last game, I should go over it in detail and shout out some of the players that were involved. So let's first start with the fake punt from Sonny Rentz. So he doesn't kick it, he throws it, intended for number 12, Nick Helner. He actually doesn't catch it, but Belleville get a flag. So I thought he caught it, but Belleville flag actually converts into a Northville first down once again. So here's Isaac Pace handing it off to number 14, Caden Kubin, but it doesn't end up going that far. Next play, Evan Deak as the quarterback. He hands it off to Colin Charles. That's Mustangs back onto fourth down. Isaac Pace throws it. They went for it, and Colin Charles catches it, and it's back to Northville first down. And here he is again, Isaac Pace. This time he throws it, intended for number 2, Cullen Murphy. Almost gets caught by number 6 on the Belleville side, but that pass just ends up going incomplete for second down. This time, Pace throws it again, intended for number 12, Nick Helner. He doesn't catch it, but Belleville gets another flag, which converts back to Northville first down. This time, Pace runs it, nearly gets into the end zone for the touchdown, just not quite. So it's first and goal for Northville. And then there's a couple plays where they just tried to rush it in with number 14. He was unable to get it on the next 2 plays. It's third and goal for the Mustangs. Pace throws it, caught by number 8, Cole Atancio. I hoped I pronounced that correctly, but he got the touchdown, and I'm so glad that this footage is out there because even the Northville story of the season credits the touchdown to Caden Kubin, which that it just isn't the case. Now, one other thing I got wrong, and I'm going to show this footage here very late in the second quarter. This is the last play before halftime, and you can see Belleville throws the ball very, very far, and it's intercepted by number 2, Cullen Murphy again, and he actually goes a few yards. Now, there was a flag on the play. I'm going to talk about this more in the real video, but I thought Sonny Rentz got that interception, but that is not the case, so that's another mistake I made. So let's flip it back to the original video, and once again, huge shout out to Shot by Eli for this footage. That brought it to 14-7, like I said, and Belleville did not score a touchdown in the second half. It was a far cry from the first game against Belleville. At halftime, I do legitimately believe Northville played way better than they did against Belleville the first time around. It was a little scrappy for the first quarter, but definitely a major improvement when it came to the second quarter. Even right before the second quarter ended, Sonny Rentz again intercepts the ball and gives it back to Northville, but there was a flag on the play, and there was actually a lot of controversy on the field when this happened because they tried to give the ball back to Belleville, and Bryce Underwood can throw 40 yards. If you give him a chance to score a touchdown, he's going to take it, and he's probably going to do it. So the coaches had to get on the field, and eventually they just said, screw this, let's go into halftime. Now, unfortunately, after halftime, things did not go super well for Northville. They played really well, I think, at the beginning of the third quarter. They got Belleville to turn over on fourth down. But after that, the Belleville we all know and love came out, and they just started getting touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. I think late in the game, they even got a pick six. There's not much that I really remember from Northville's side at the second half. I mean, obviously, there was a good drive late in the game to maybe get another touchdown. But that is actually what ended up resulting in the pick six. So I got to give credit to Northville. They kept playing. They gave an attempt. They tried it on fourth down multiple times because you might as well at this point. It just didn't end up resulting anything. One thing I should mention, though, from the last play of the game, basically, number 29, Macklin Hart, he's a sophomore. He's one of the backup players right now, but he had a great drive right at the end there that I thought it looked like it could have resulted in something. Belleville stopped it, but it was a great drive for the end of the game. So, like I said, he's only a sophomore, so we're definitely going to be seeing more of him next season and then the season after that. But that was a great play right at the end there. But unfortunately, it was just too much. Belleville 49, Northville 7. Like I said in the beginning of the video, it almost doesn't even seem fair, but it is what it is. Belleville will move on against Davison. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But it is the end of the line for Northville. I think it's been a great season. It's been super fun to watch. I did not expect to get as into this as I did when I went to the Clarkston game at the beginning of the season, but it has been really fun. They do have their work cut out for them for next year. We are losing 23 seniors. That's something every high school football team has to deal with at the end of the season. You're losing all your seniors, and I'm sure Northville will get around that because there are some great junior players on there that are going to step up to the challenge of leading the team. Drew Rankin's a junior. Colin Charles is a junior. Caden Kubin's a junior. I think Cole number 8, I think he's a junior as well. He got the touchdown. So they've got some great players left, but we are losing a lot of great ones as well. It'll be fun to see what they can do next season, but we're not on to next season yet because we still have 2 more games, the semifinals and then the finals. Semifinals on this side of the bracket, Belleville versus Davison. Now, what can I say for Belleville? I haven't mentioned any of their players yet, so let's talk about them briefly. Some of their good ones. I've only seen these 2 games versus Northville for Belleville, and I was obviously on Northville's side, so I've not caught up on all the players yet, but I will do that for the next video. But what I can say off my head right now, number 1, Jeremiah Beasley. Number 2, Adrian Walker Jr. Number 5, Colby Reed. And number 19, of course, the star of the team, Bryce Underwood. He can throw, he can run, he can jump, he can pretty much do everything. It's going to be hard to beat that team. I think any team is going to have difficulty beating Belleville, beating Bryce Underwood. 2-time champions. He won the division championship as a freshman. And I know it's the whole team, it's just not him, but still, he's really the one running this show right now. That being said, here's how the stats look on paper. Now, before this Belleville versus Northville game, the stats were Rockford were number 1 in Michigan, then Belleville, then Davison. And Davison actually went out and beat number 1 Rockford. So they were the underdogs in that game, and they were able to go out and do it. So that can they do that again, beating now number 1 Belleville and number 2 Davison? This really is the clash between the two best teams in the state. Many might call this the championship game to prove who's truly the best. Obviously, the real championship isn't given until the Ford Field game, but these are the two teams that are the best on paper this year. So Belleville's got their work cut out for them, I think. On paper, this is probably the hardest game that they will have played, at least this season, potentially in the last few seasons. This game is in Novi at Novi High School, so I will actually be going to this game. I wasn't originally planning on it, but I will, and so I will be doing a video on that game. So we'll see how it goes. I've got hopes, or I'm hoping it's a close game. I'm hoping it's a fun game, but I've seen how Belleville can play, so I think it could go either way, but we'll see. I'm pretty much impartial at this game, so we'll see what I have to say. I'll learn about Davison, and I'll give shouts to some of the other Belleville players that probably don't give as much recognition because they've got the superstar Bryce Underwood on their side. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching. It's super fun talking about this stuff, and I'm going to see you guys for Belleville versus Davison. Catch you then.